Well, just to begin, I guess I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself.
I'm Claude Powers, Vice President of Powers & Sons Construction Company.
Just for starters, what's your company all about?
We're a general contracting company who focuses on the Chicagoland and Indianapolis area. We are an industrial, institutional, public, and multifamily residential contractor.
When exactly was the company started?
The company started 40 years ago in 1967, right here in this main office here in Indiana.
What inspired your father, Mr. Powers, Mr. Maymester Powers Sr., to start the company, if you can comment on anything from that essence?
Well, he always had an interest in construction. His grandfather was a minister who built churches, and when he migrated to this area after the war, he picked up on construction rather than the steel industry because he saw an opportunity for greater growth potential. Oh, you absolutely have to have a passion for this business, otherwise it will devour you.
Where or how did he get the money to start the company, to start funding for the company?
And that's a very good story. He, although he was employed as an apprentice, which is a fairly low-paying starter position. They pay about 50% of what a carpenter makes. He also helped fund himself and his family by working side projects and side jobs while he was attending college. And he was very frugal, very efficient, which helped serve building the company.
Were there any struggles during the early starts for the company?
Oh, absolutely. There were many times where the people who worked for my father made more than he did. The common perception is that if you own a business that you're naturally making lots of money. But when you're in a startup company, especially when you are building a company, that's typically not true. You have to take the long view. And the long view is to build up the company so the company is strong.
What makes Powers & Sons Construction Company special or better than any other construction companies in the area?
Well, we have a philosophy and a concept that we endorse, and in fact we originated it here. It's called Z-Pride, and it's a concept towards excellence. It stands for, the acronym stands for Zero Punch List Requires Individual Daily Effort. It's a demand and a requirement that each staff member realize that the quality of our work depends on each and every individual daily. If we start anything, that we want to make sure that we do it so well that no other company can claim to do it better.
How has your company actually changed since the startup back in 1967?
So we've grown from a few hundred $1,000 a year to $60+ million a year.
What's the most challenging project the company's ever done?
We've had, over the years, we've had a few challenging projects. One of the projects I think that we were most proud of was a postal encoding facility, in which it was roughly a $3 million job that had to be completed in less than 100 days. The great thing about the more difficult ones is they sharpen you more than anything else. A sharp blade will cut a lot faster than a dull one, and so the more difficult projects, the more they require you to step up and hone your skills and hone your processes, which then help the next job behind that.
Can you describe a time where the company has had to learn from its failures?
Every day. There were a series of projects about 3 years ago that came our way. It was a relatively new aspect for us, but we had to decide. The project we did was not particularly successful for us from a profitability standpoint, but we had to decide whether it was something that we couldn't do or whether it's something that we had to learn from the experience. And I'm happy to say we learned from that experience and have made that particular type of project very profitable for us.
What advice would you give to young entrepreneurs that are thinking about starting a company, may have an idea in their back pocket that they want to bring to life? What advice would you give to someone like that?
If you believe in the idea and you are dedicated to pay the cost, because the first thing you have to do is evaluate what all the cost will be. I think it's outstanding. You get yourself prepared, learn everything you can learn about that particular endeavor, and understand what the costs are. So when you hit the bumps in the road, you don't get discouraged. You expect them, and you learn how to overcome them instead of allowing them to overcome you. And you have to believe in your dream enough to be able to convince those who work with you and around you that it is and can and will be successful.
All right, well, thanks a lot, Mr. Powers. I really appreciate you taking the time out.
And I realized that was such a tough question. I wondered, what do you think? You have to walk on eggshells there, not to say anything that you don't want to, but yet, I mean, always looking to improve. Very good. So how are you doing in school down there?